Hi, this is Paul Van Herenen. I'm the Technical Sales Manager here at Geocortex. Today we're going to have a look at one of the ways you can configure your Geocortex Web application to have that dashboard-like feel using Kpi Cards. Let's have a look. Okay, so as I said, Kpi Cards are used in Geocortex Web to dynamically display data from layer fields when a selection is made on a map. So, for example, when running a search or performing an identify on the map, or even running from a Geocortex workflow. So I'm going to show you a few examples here first, as I said, and then we'll jump into the Geocortex Web Designer to see how these things are built. So in this example, you can see on the top right-hand side, we see here, these are the Kpi cards themselves, and they're sort of embedded inside of this frame here in Geocortex Web. In this example, we see we're identifying survey control points on the map, so there's horizontal and vertical control points. You'll notice here that as I pan the map, those values will change, and each time I pan, the query is made and it updates those values. So it gives the user an idea of how many points are contained within this current extent, and use it in that application that way. So very cool example there. Got another example here as well from we did an application for Toronto, City of Toronto, and it's the same idea here. And this one, we're as we pan the map, we're able to see these service requests and work order values change as I pan the map. You can see that there. And the beauty with Geocortex Web is that you're able to design these Kpi cards in any number of different ways. So they've got a sort of a banner look here. The previous example, we had it in a frame. So Geocortex Web gives you that flexibility to put these things wherever you want in your application and design them as you see fit. Here's a last example where we're actually calling the Kpi cards from a workflow. So I'm going to quickly run this Geocortex workflow here on the left-hand side. This is an application that just basically runs a tally of PPE equipment, personal protective equipment in the LA County area. So I'm just going to choose Santa Clarita. And once it comes up here, you're going to see a list of schools. So specifically the schools I can select. So I'm going to choose the Cedar Creek. And when I do that, you can see on the right-hand side that we've got some Kpi cards presented. So you'll notice that there's different color values. I'll jump into Geocortex Web Designer here in a minute to show you how these are designed, but essentially the colors change based on the number of equipment is in each of those locations. So if they're a little bit short, it'll be turn red, as you can see there. And if they're good, they're sort of within the accepted range, then it'll be in more in the green color. So let's actually jump into Geocortex Web Designer to see how this one actually was built specifically. So I'm just going to bounce back here. You can see all of the different components in this application. I'm going to scroll down to the N95 masks Kpi card here. I'm going to open that up. So in here, you've got a list of all sorts of different configuration options that you can choose. What you want to do initially is select a source. So what do you actually want to display as the source value in your Kpi card? So in this case, I'm going to choose COVID supplies as a value, and then inside of that attribute, I've got a field called N95 masks that I want to just generate a sum for. So give me the total value of any N95 masks in that for that specific school. So displaying that there. I'm going to come back to advanced mode. I've got another example to go in. You can actually specify some arcade scripts that you can add into your application. In the advanced mode, I'll show you an example of that in a second. Reference type is, I'm going to show you an example in the next one as well, but it's essentially a way to present a secondary value based on your initial value. So if you wanted to run some calculation based on the previous value that you selected, or using the number that's currently there, or run another calculation on top of it. So example, like running an average or a count or something like that on a secondary value to display. So again, I'll show you another example of that in a second. The app colors themselves, you can choose to sort of apply the branding of your Geocortex Web application inside your app, or you can choose your own colors. So here's the different sections of the KPI card itself. So this is just simply the title. So you can see here, N95 mask count is the title. You can specify the size of the font and the value there as well. In the middle is where you're going to actually, in this example, display the value. In this case, we're just using a replacement token indicating value. Value is the number up here that we've calculated. And again, it's a fixed point value. We're just going to have whole numbers there. At the bottom, we just have static text that's at the bottom there, just pointing out the required values there. At the bottom here is the conditions. So this is where the colors come into play. So if your value is less than 50, you're going to get this red color here. So it's just a simple condition here to change the color of that KPI card based on the value that's presented there. So very simple example there. And you can see the rest of the conditions there. So we've got some other expressions here based on, if it's between 50 and 100 essentially there, right? Or 100 and 150 or above 150. So you can get a little bit creative with the expressions that you add in here and display, any number of different value types there. And of course, you can change the size of the KPI cards as well, obviously. So let's jump into another example. In this example, we're doing a calculation on the fly here, and what this application does is calculates the average area of the selected buildings on the map. So I'm going to select a bunch of buildings there, and in a second you'll see this KPI card up here. So this is just the average building area of the features that I selected, those building features that I selected on the map. So I've got 9,000 square meters there. What this app actually does as well is gives me a secondary value, basically showing me the difference of square area. So the previous value was 9,000 something. The value that I've selected now is 7,000, and it shows me the difference there. So we've gone down 2,000 square meters or so there. Just shows you the difference of your selection. So I can select something bigger, and it will show me a green up arrow showing that the value is obviously bigger. So simple example, but you can imagine the type of applications you might have to show those calculations on the fly. You can also just neat little trick. You can change the theme to show a different color there if you want as well. Let's have a quick look at the configuration for this application. So we've got our source, which is obviously the buildings layer, and here's our editor here. So it's just a quick little arcade script that we've built here. We're declaring some values. We're getting the area of the features that we selected, and then we're returning the average of those selected features there. In the reference here, this is what we looked at before as well, but in this example, we're using the previous value. So you notice how we're looking for the difference of the two values that we've returned. So we're interested in that previous value, and I'll show you the condition that we're setting based on that reference type. So let's say the value is greater than the reference. So the original value is greater than the referenced value. Then we're going to return we're going to get the difference of those, return an absolute value. We don't want to return a negative value here. That's the simple calculation there we do at the bottom here to return that. Obviously, green is going to be our color that we showed there as well. And then we can see that if the value is less than the reference, then we do the same difference calculation and then return a red text. So pretty interesting to have a look at the different conditions and the different ways that you can present this value, these values. It really jazzes up your applications and kind of makes them a little bit, presents the values in interesting ways. So hopefully this was useful for you, and have yourself a great day.